Hi guys, this is Debbie with Debbie J's Crafting Corner. Today we are making a couple of cards using the Edgar Allan Poe digital kit from Taylormadecards4u. You'd think that I had made enough Poe projects for this year, but when I saw this kit, I just couldn't resist. I printed a couple of the backgrounds out at about half size, and then after cropping the individual ephemera pieces, I used remove.bg and Microsoft Word to create the images that I would later cut out. I just had to make a pile of skulls, and this skull will now be one of my Halloween staples. There is just so much that you can create with it. Check out this video to see exactly how I work with digital images. I had a general idea of how I wanted everything positioned, but hadn't decided which background to use. Actually, this is one of those card designs that's in your head when you wake up, and I had wanted to get it done for a couple of days. I think both of these backgrounds would be great for this design, so I decided to make them both. Let me know in the comments which one you like best. I had already used my ScanNCut to cut out many of the images, and fussy cut the rest. It had a little trouble with the skulls because there just wasn't much contrast there, so I fussy cut those out while watching a show with my hubby. So now I'm cutting out the backgrounds. I had printed them to 5x7, and now I'm cutting them out to basically that size so I can get an idea of what part of the cardstock that I actually want to use for each of my cards. I'll cut them down in a bit. I'm going to mat these, so I'm cutting each background down to 5 by 3 3/4. While I'm cutting this, I thought I'd just chat with you a little bit. I know that a lot of you are enjoying my Halloween series, and I really love reading all of your comments. So just a quick reminder, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and do that now. And hit that notification bell too, so that you are notified whenever I upload. I still have a few weeks of Halloween projects coming up, and Christmas is right around the corner. I don't want you to miss a thing. Now that the backgrounds are cut to size, I want to double check and make sure that everything fits the way I envisioned. I guess that's just the OCD in me. It looks good, so I'll go ahead and get the matting layer ready. I'm taking a sheet of black cardstock from Michaels and cutting it down to 5 1/4 by 4. This will create a 1/8 inch mat around the background and should show about a 1/8 inch of the card base around the mat when everything is assembled. Speaking of the card base, let's go ahead and create one. As usual, I've cut a sheet of 8 1/2 by 11 heavyweight cardstock from Michaels in half, creating two 8 1/2 by 5 inch panels. Then I'm scoring one of those panels at 4 1/4. Then I'll just fold it over, always using the scored side on the outside of the card and then burnishing it flat. Next, I'll finish getting all of our ephemera ready with a little embossing. I'm adding some sparkle to the moons with some Wow Clear Sparkle Embossing Glitter. First, I'm using some purple tape to hold the moons down to a Dollar Tree cutting board. Then I'm coating the moon images in Wow embossing ink before covering both images with the embossing glitter. been heating up my Marvy heat tool, and it's ready to melt the embossing glitter and make those moons sparkle. Now I'll add some shine to the ravens and to the skulls. I'm putting a strip of purple tape onto the cutting board with the sticky side up. Be patient with me though, this is the first time I'm trying it this way. Then I'm placing the 2 ravens and the 2 skull piles on the purple tape. This should hold them in place while I emboss them and keep me from burning my fingers. So just like with the moons, I'm covering all of the images with WOW embossing ink. But this time I'll be using WOW Clear Gloss embossing powder. I covered all of the images with the embossing powder. Then I melted all the powder down with my Marvy heat tool. It's always so cool to watch the powder melt. I love how shiny the little ravens and skulls are getting. Okay, I made a mess with all this embossing. I think I mentioned in a previous video that this is one reason I don't do it as much as I'd like. This time I'm stopping mid-video to clean up some of the embossing powder that is gritty and just bugs me. It's kind of like having sand in your shoes. Cleanup time is over. For now. I'll do a better job once I'm finished with these cards. So let's assemble them. I'm using my dot liner adhesive to mat the first background panel onto the black mat. Then I'm adhering the moon to the upper left corner. I decided to let it hang off a bit. Now I'm just repeating the process with the other background panel and moon. On to the skulls. I'm using some Arteza foam tape to adhere the skulls to the card panels and to give a little dimension. I think I figured out why I've been having so much trouble with this tape, besides the release paper being plastic. I think that the adhesive that they use is similar to stick-it adhesive, meaning you have to press it down firmly for it to stick. And if it's not adhered down enough, how am I supposed to pull the plastic off? So the solution would be to press firmly and burnish it very well. The foam tapes that I've used in the past just didn't have that kind of wiggle room. I'm going to have the raven perched on the top of the topmost skull. I decided to use a double layer of foam tape to give a little more dimension, so I'm folding a small piece of foam tape in half and putting it on the back of the raven. This looks pretty good, but the moon is still hanging off the panel, so I'm trimming off the excess and adhering the whole panel down to the front of a card base. This first card is almost done. All that's left is to adhere the sentiment. I'm using one of the Edgar Allan Poe quotes that was included in this kit for that sentiment. It says, "The scariest monsters are the ones that lurk within souls." Okay, I lied. This card's not done. I don't like the way the raven's foot is kind of floating above the skull it's supposed to be sitting on. So I adhered it down with some art glitter glue and held it in place with my reverse tweezers while it dried. Now we can go ahead and finish up the second card. I'm starting by trimming off the excess pieces of the moon that are hanging off the panel. Now we can adhere the skulls and the raven. I decided to use just one layer of foam tape this time for the raven. That seems to work better. Still, I'll glue his feet to his perch. Next, I'll add the sentiment. Just like on the first card, I'm adhering it over part of the pile of skulls, this time with art glitter glue, and popping up the other end on a layer of foam tape. Then I'll adhere it to the front of a card base. So what do you think? Which is your favorite? Let me know down in the comments. That finishes up this card for today. I hope that you are inspired to get going on your Halloween crafting, and I would love to see what you create. So come join my Facebook group, Crafting with Debbie, and show us your creations. I've left a link in the description box down below. Oh, and if you make anything using ideas from one of my Halloween videos, please post a picture and tag me at hashtag Debbie J's Crafting Corner and at hashtag DJCC Halloween 2020. You can also see all of my Halloween videos for 2020 by clicking on the hashtag DJCC Halloween 2020 down in the video title. Here are some other videos that you may be interested in. Thank you so much for dropping by, and remember, if I can make it, you can too.